Welcome to Just Listen Books channel. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification. The Art of Happiness is a book co-authored by Howard Cutler, a psychiatrist, who poses questions to the Dalai Lama. The book is structured in a way that combines the Dalai Lama's philosophical and spiritual insights with Dr. Cutler's scientific observations, providing a bridge between Eastern and Western thought on happiness. In the first chapter, The Right to Happiness, the Dalai Lama sets the foundation for the book's discussions by affirming that every individual inherently has the right to pursue happiness. He emphasizes that while this pursuit is universal, the understanding of what constitutes happiness can vary significantly from person to person. He argues that while sensory pleasures are easily accessible and can provide immediate gratification, they are fleeting and can often lead to a cycle of continuous craving and dissatisfaction. Instead, the Dalai Lama suggests that true happiness is a state of being, an inner peace and contentment that persists regardless of external circumstances. This type of happiness is cultivated through mental and emotional maturity, self-reflection, and an understanding of the nature of the mind itself. He discusses the role of mental discipline in shaping our perceptions and reactions, suggesting that a well-trained mind can maintain a state of well-being even in the face of life's challenges. Dr. Howard Cutler, who provides the Western psychiatric perspective, explores how this Eastern philosophy aligns with contemporary psychological understanding. He discusses research that supports the idea that happiness is more dependent on one's state of mind than on external factors. Cutler adds that psychological research has shown that people can increase their overall happiness through practices like mindfulness and meditation, which are aligned with the practices the Dalai Lama recommends. The chapter sets up the rest of the book by establishing a framework that sees happiness not as a series of emotional highs, but as a sustained and stable state of mind that can be achieved through deliberate mental and emotional nurturing. This approach places the responsibility for happiness within the individual, which is both empowering and challenging, requiring continuous effort and self-awareness. In the second chapter, The Sources of Happiness, the Dalai Lama delves deeper into the sources from which people commonly seek happiness, distinguishing between internal and external sources. He emphasizes that true, lasting happiness does not primarily come from external circumstances, but rather from internal conditions. This insight sets the stage for a profound exploration of how happiness can be cultivated from within, irrespective of the external environment. The Dalai Lama discusses external sources of happiness such as wealth, career success, physical health, and relationships. He acknowledges that while these factors can contribute to a sense of well-being, they are not reliable sources of lasting happiness because they are subject to change and decay. External conditions are often beyond our control, and relying on them for happiness can lead to instability and disappointment when they inevitably fluctuate. Instead, the Dalai Lama points to internal sources of happiness, which are rooted in the mind and emotions. He argues that the cultivation of qualities such as peace, resilience, contentment, and compassion contributes to a stable and persistent state of happiness. These qualities are not dependent on external circumstances and can be developed and strengthened through practices such as meditation, introspection, and the conscious application of compassion in daily life. Dr. Howard Cutler supplements this discussion with insights from Western psychology, which also supports the idea that happiness is more enduring when it comes from internal sources. He discusses concepts like set point theory, which suggests that while external events might temporarily affect happiness, individuals tend to return to a baseline level of happiness that is largely determined by their internal state. Cutler also highlights research indicating that people who focus on internal growth and personal virtues tend to experience higher levels of happiness and fulfillment. This is contrasted with those who chase external achievements and material gains, who may appear successful but often do not report lasting happiness. The chapter encourages readers to invest in their internal development and to recognize the impermanent nature of external circumstances. The Dalai Lama concludes that by understanding and nurturing our internal sources of happiness, we can achieve a more reliable and enduring form of happiness that is less susceptible to external fluctuations. This perspective invites readers to shift their focus from seeking happiness in the external world to developing it from within themselves. In the third chapter, Training the Mind for Happiness, the Dalai Lama elaborates on the importance of mental training as a key method for cultivating a sustainable form of happiness. This chapter is pivotal in explaining how one can actively shape their mind to enhance their overall sense of well-being and contentment. The Dalai Lama introduces the idea that the mind, much like the body, requires regular training and discipline to achieve and maintain optimal health. He suggests that just as physical exercise strengthens the body, mental exercises such as meditation, mindfulness, and reflection can strengthen mental resilience and foster a positive outlook on life. He emphasizes that the transformation of our attitudes and outlook is crucial for happiness. Negative mental habits such as pessimism, resentment, and anger not only diminish our own happiness but can also adversely affect those around us. Conversely, cultivating positive mental states like optimism, gratitude, and kindness can enhance our well-being and extend its benefits to our broader social circle. The Dalai Lama discusses specific practices such as mindfulness meditation, which helps individuals become more aware of their thoughts and emotions in the present moment without judgment. This awareness is the first step towards gaining greater control over one's reactions and attitudes. By recognizing our habitual thought patterns, we can start to modify them towards more positive and constructive responses. He also talks about the practice of loving kindness meditation, which involves actively generating feelings of goodwill and compassion towards oneself and others. This practice not only improves emotional well-being but also expands our sense of connectedness with others, further enhancing our happiness. Dr. Howard Cutler provides a scientific backing to these approaches, citing research from cognitive behavioral therapy and positive psychology that supports the efficacy of mind training in altering thought patterns. These disciplines show that, by changing our cognitive frameworks, we can significantly improve our emotional health and life satisfaction. Cutler also points out that while the concept of mind training might seem daunting, the process can be approached gradually, starting with small, manageable practices that build over time. This incremental approach helps make the practice of mind training accessible and practical for individuals in different walks of life. Overall, the chapter, Training the Mind for Happiness, encourages readers to view happiness not as a random occurrence or a byproduct of external factors, but as a skill that can be developed and enhanced through consistent mental practice. This empowers readers with the tools and understanding needed to foster a happier, more fulfilling life. In the fourth chapter, Reclaiming Our Innate State of Happiness, the Dalai Lama delves into the intrinsic potential for goodness and happiness that exists within every human being. He suggests that this natural state often becomes obscured by the complexities and challenges of life, but it can be reclaimed through conscious effort and practice. The Dalai Lama starts by asserting that all human beings have an inherent ability to experience joy and contentment, and that these qualities are our natural state. He argues that many of the negative traits that seem prevalent in society, such as greed, anger, and jealousy, are actually superficial layers that have developed in response to external conditions, rather than inherent aspects of human nature. He discusses several practices that can help in this process, including 1. Mindfulness and awareness. Being mindful of our thoughts, actions, and motivations helps us become more aware of how they influence our well-being and our interactions with others. This awareness is the first step in modifying our behaviors towards more positive outcomes. 2. Compassion and loving kindness. Cultivating feelings of compassion and loving kindness towards others not only benefits those around us but also enhances our own sense of happiness and fulfillment. These feelings help us connect with others on a deeper level and reinforce our natural state of interconnectedness and positivity. 3. Reflection and meditation. Regular reflection and meditation can help us peel away the layers of negativity that obscure our innate qualities. Through these practices, we can confront and alleviate negative emotions and cultivate a more peaceful and joyful mindset. 4. Gratitude. Practicing gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, fostering a greater appreciation for our lives and experiences. This shift in perspective can significantly boost our overall sense of happiness. Dr. Howard Cutler supports these ideas with insights from Western psychology, which also recognizes the therapeutic effects of these practices. He discusses evidence from studies on cognitive behavioral therapy and neuroscience that show how such mental exercises can physically alter the brain's structure, leading to increased feelings of happiness and decreased anxiety and depression. Cutler also mentions the role of resilience, which can be strengthened through these practices, allowing individuals to recover more quickly from setbacks and maintain their innate state of happiness, despite external challenges. This chapter encourages readers to actively engage in reclaiming their natural state of happiness by nurturing their fundamental human qualities. The Dalai Lama's message is one of hope and empowerment, suggesting that regardless of our circumstances, we all possess the potential to live deeply fulfilling lives. In the 5th chapter, A New Model for Intimacy, the Dalai Lama explores the profound impact that close relationships can have on our happiness, and he proposes a framework where intimacy, compassion, and altruistic behavior are central to developing deep, meaningful connections with others. The Dalai Lama begins by defining intimacy, not just in romantic terms, but as a quality present in all close relationships, including friendships and familial bonds. He emphasizes that intimacy is built through a genuine understanding and concern for the well-being of others. This understanding fosters a connection that goes beyond superficial interactions, touching on a deeper emotional and spiritual level. Key elements of the new model for intimacy. 1. Compassion. The Dalai Lama argues that compassion is the foundation of intimacy. By genuinely caring for another's happiness and well-being as much as our own, we create a bond that is both nurturing and resilient. Compassion involves a deep empathy for others, feeling with them, and wishing to alleviate their suffering. 2. Altruistic behavior. Altruistic behavior naturally flows from compassion. When we act with the intention of benefiting others without expecting anything in return, our relationships deepen. This selflessness not only enhances the lives of others, but also brings us a profound sense of satisfaction and happiness. 3. Open communication. Honest and open communication is crucial for building intimacy. By expressing our thoughts, feelings, and vulnerabilities without fear of judgment, we invite others to understand our true selves. This transparency is key to developing trust and closeness. 4. Mutual respect. Respect for each other's individuality and choices is essential in intimate relationships. It involves acknowledging differences without imposing our own beliefs or desires on others. Mutual respect supports a healthy dynamic where all individuals can grow and thrive. 5. Shared joy and suffering. Sharing in each other's joys and sorrows equally contributes to building a strong, intimate bond. Celebrating successes and providing support during tough times are both crucial for nurturing a connection. Dr. Howard Cutler adds a psychological perspective to this discussion, highlighting research that shows the benefits of close, supportive relationships on mental and physical health. Studies in psychology often point to the role of secure attachments and social support in enhancing an individual's resilience against stress and adversity. Cutler also discusses the therapeutic effects of altruism and compassion, noting that engaging in acts of kindness can boost mood and even lead to longer life expectancies, according to some studies. The chapter, A New Model for Intimacy, underscores the idea that true intimacy and deep connections are achievable through compassion and altruism. These elements not only enrich our relationships, but also contribute significantly to our personal happiness. The Dalai Lama's model challenges us to cultivate these qualities, proposing that the path to personal happiness and fulfilling relationships lies in our ability to care for others as deeply as we do for ourselves. In the 6th chapter, deepening our connection to others. The Dalai Lama explores how empathy and kindness serve as essential tools to deepen our relationships, thereby enhancing our personal well-being and overall happiness. This chapter builds on the previous discussions about intimacy and compassion, emphasizing practical ways to strengthen our social bonds. Core concepts discussed in the chapter. 1. Empathy as a foundation. The Dalai Lama highlights empathy as the cornerstone of deep, meaningful connections with others. Empathy involves truly understanding and sharing the feelings of another person, which allows us to respond genuinely to their needs and emotions. By fostering empathy, we can break down barriers of misunderstanding and create a shared experience of emotional resonance. 2. Kindness in action. Kindness, according to the Dalai Lama, is empathy translated into action. It involves small acts of consideration, help, and support that we can offer in our daily interactions. These acts of kindness not only make others feel valued and cared for, but also contribute to our own sense of joy and fulfillment. 3. Listening skills. Effective communication is pivotal in deepening connections, and listening is perhaps the most critical aspect of communication. The Dalai Lama stresses the importance of active and attentive listening, which involves fully concentrating on what is being said rather than planning our response or judgment. This type of listening allows for a deeper understanding and appreciation of others' perspectives and experiences. 4. Shared experiences. Engaging in shared activities and experiences can also enhance our connection with others. Whether it's working on a common goal, enjoying a hobby together, or facing challenges side by side, shared experiences can foster a sense of unity and camaraderie that strengthens bonds. 5. Forgiveness and reconciliation. The Dalai Lama discusses the role of forgiveness in maintaining and deepening relationships. Holding on to grudges or resentment can erode the foundations of a relationship. Forgiveness allows us to move past conflicts and misunderstandings, restoring harmony and enabling us to connect more deeply. Dr. Howard Cutler supports these ideas with insights from Western psychology. He discusses research showing that people who practice empathy and engage in acts of kindness experience increased levels of happiness and life satisfaction. Furthermore, studies have shown that such practices can decrease stress and improve mental health. Cutler also touches on the psychological benefits of forgiveness, citing studies that associate forgiving with better emotional and physical health. Forgiveness is seen not only as a moral or ethical act, but as a pragmatic approach to enhancing personal well-being. The chapter, Deepening Our Connection to Others, conveys a powerful message. By practicing empathy, kindness, and forgiveness, we not only enrich the lives of those around us, but also enhance our own happiness. The Dalai Lama encourages readers to actively cultivate these qualities, emphasizing that our connections with others are crucial pathways to achieving a more fulfilled and joyful life. In the 7th chapter, The Value and Benefits of Compassion. The Dalai Lama elaborates on how cultivating compassion offers dual benefits. It significantly enhances the lives of others and concurrently enriches the practitioner's own sense of happiness and fulfillment. This chapter further underscores the profound impacts of living a life guided by compassion, discussing both its practical applications and its deep psychological benefits. Key themes and insights of the chapter. 1. Understanding compassion. The Dalai Lama begins by defining compassion as a deep awareness of the suffering of another, coupled with the wish to relieve it. Compassion extends beyond mere empathy. It involves an active desire to alleviate the distress of others. This fundamental Buddhist principle is portrayed as a transformative force that can profoundly change how we interact with the world. 2. Psychological health. From a psychological perspective, the Dalai Lama discusses how compassion opens the heart and alleviates personal suffering. By focusing on the needs and well-being of others, individuals may experience a reduction in personal stress and an increase in emotional resilience. This shift in focus from self-centered concerns to the welfare of others can diminish negative emotions like anger and jealousy, leading to a more contented life. 3. Social connectivity. Compassion strengthens social bonds, according to the Dalai Lama. Engaging compassionately with others promotes a sense of belonging and connectedness. These social connections are crucial for emotional well-being, as they provide support, reduce feelings of isolation, and enhance one's social network through positive interactions. 4. Physical health benefits. There are tangible health benefits associated with living compassionately. The Dalai Lama references studies that suggest acts of compassion can lower blood pressure, reduce the risk of heart disease, and generally extend one's lifespan. These benefits are thought to arise from the reduced stress levels and increased positive emotional states that compassion fosters. 5. Moral and ethical satisfaction. Living a compassionate life aligns with deep moral and ethical values, providing a sense of purpose and fulfillment. This alignment with one's values can be profoundly satisfying, offering a sense of integrity and meaning that contributes to overall happiness. 6. Cultivating compassion. The chapter concludes with practical advice on cultivating compassion. The Dalai Lama suggests meditation practices such as the loving-kindness meditation, which focuses on developing a compassionate attitude towards oneself and others. He also encourages everyday acts of kindness, urging readers to engage in simple gestures that demonstrate care and concern for others. Dr. Howard Cutler adds commentary on the neuroscience behind compassion, discussing how compassionate behavior can trigger neural pathways associated with pleasure and reward. He provides insights from Western scientific studies that show how compassion can lead to increased levels of endorphins, which are natural mood lifters, and how it can decrease the production of cortisol, a stress hormone. In summary, the chapter, The Value and Benefits of Compassion, not only champions the ethical and moral reasons for adopting a compassionate lifestyle, but also presents compelling evidence of the personal gains such a lifestyle offers. The Dalai Lama's teachings suggest that compassion is not just a path to spiritual enlightenment, but also a practical strategy for living a healthier, happier, and more fulfilling life. In the 8th chapter, Facing Suffering, the Dalai Lama addresses one of the fundamental aspects of human experience, suffering. He explores how individuals can confront and manage suffering in a way that not only mitigates its negative impacts, but also transforms it into a catalyst for personal growth and understanding. Central concepts of the chapter. 1. Nature and universality of suffering. The Dalai Lama begins by acknowledging that suffering is a universal part of the human condition, affecting every person at various points in their lives. He references the Buddhist concept of dukkha, which encompasses all forms of suffering, from physical pain and emotional distress to more subtle forms of dissatisfaction with life. Understanding that suffering is a common experience can foster a sense of shared humanity and compassion. 2. Sources of suffering. The Dalai Lama discusses the various sources of suffering, distinguishing between those that are avoidable and those that are not. He emphasizes that much of our suffering arises from our mental responses and attitudes towards our circumstances, rather than the circumstances themselves. This perspective is critical in managing how we deal with life's challenges. 3. Transforming suffering. Central to the Dalai Lama's teachings is the idea that suffering can be transformed into an opportunity for growth. He suggests that suffering provides a potent impetus for developing deeper empathy and compassion. By facing our suffering directly and reflecting on its causes, we can develop a better understanding of ourselves and how we relate to others. 4. Mindfulness and acceptance. Mindfulness is presented as a tool for managing suffering, allowing individuals to experience their pain or discomfort without over-identifying with it. Acceptance does not mean passive resignation, but rather acknowledging reality as it is. This acceptance can reduce the mental turmoil that exacerbates suffering. 5. Altruism as a response to suffering. The Dalai Lama advocates for a compassionate response to suffering, both our own and that of others. By focusing on alleviating the suffering of others, we can often find relief from our own pains. This altruistic approach can lead to a profound sense of fulfillment and decrease feelings of isolation. 6. Resilience and inner strength. Finally, the chapter discusses how confronting suffering can build resilience and inner strength. The Dalai Lama points out that individuals who have faced and overcome adversity often develop a stronger, more robust character and a deeper appreciation for life's positive aspects. Dr. Howard Cutler provides a psychological viewpoint, discussing how Western therapy often addresses suffering through cognitive behavioral techniques that help individuals change their thought patterns about adversity. He also notes the role of resilience in psychological health, supported by research that shows how resilient individuals tend to lead happier and more productive lives. Throughout the chapter, the Dalai Lama conveys a message of hope and empowerment. Suffering, while an inevitable part of life, holds the key to deeper self-understanding, compassion, and personal growth. This transformative approach does not trivialize pain, but instead empowers individuals to derive meaning and strength from their most challenging experiences. In the 9th chapter, Overcoming Obstacles, the Dalai Lama, along with Dr. Howard Cutler, delves into practical strategies for dealing with and overcoming negative emotions such as anger, hatred, anxiety, which are major impediments to happiness. This discussion is vital for understanding how to dismantle the emotional barriers that prevent us from achieving a more fulfilling life. Key themes and strategies discussed in the chapter. 1. Understanding negative emotions. The chapter begins by exploring the nature and origins of negative emotions. The Dalai Lama points out that emotions like anger and hatred stem from a deep-seated sense of dissatisfaction or threat, and are often exacerbated by our perceptions and interpretations of events. Understanding these emotions as natural but manageable reactions is the first step in addressing them effectively. 2. The role of self-awareness. Self-awareness is highlighted as a crucial tool for recognizing the early signs of negative emotions. The Dalai Lama emphasizes the importance of being mindful of one's emotional state and the triggers that precipitate these feelings. By becoming more aware, individuals can intervene before their emotions escalate to harmful levels. 3. Cognitive reframing. Dr. Cutler introduces the concept of cognitive reframing, a technique widely used in cognitive behavioral therapy, which involves changing the way one thinks about a situation in order to alter the emotional response to it. The Dalai Lama aligns this with Buddhist teachings that encourage viewing situations from different perspectives to reduce emotional attachment and reactivity. 4. Cultivating patience and tolerance. Patience and tolerance are presented as antidotes to anger and hatred. The Dalai Lama discusses how these virtues can be cultivated through deliberate practice and meditation. By developing a more patient and tolerant attitude, individuals can improve their ability to cope with provocation and adversity without resorting to negative reactions. 5. Using compassion to counter anxiety and fear. Compassion is a recurring theme in the book, and is again emphasized as a method for countering anxiety and fear. The Dalai Lama suggests that by focusing on the well-being of others, one can shift focus away from personal anxieties and fears, which often diminish in the process. 6. Meditation and mindfulness practices. Specific meditation techniques, such as mindfulness meditation and meditative breathing exercises, are recommended to help manage and reduce the intensity of negative emotions. These practices aid in calming the mind and provide a space for individuals to process emotions more constructively. 7. Engagement in positive activities. Both the Dalai Lama and Dr. Cutler encourage engaging in activities that promote positive emotions, such as volunteering, hobbies, or social activities that can provide emotional uplifts and distract from negative patterns. 8. Seeking professional help. Dr. Cutler notes the importance of seeking professional help when necessary. For some individuals, overcoming deep-seated negative emotions may require the support of mental health professionals through therapies that address the underlying issues contributing to these emotions. The chapter, Overcoming Obstacles, serves as a comprehensive guide on how to confront and transform negative emotions effectively. The Dalai Lama's insights, combined with Dr. Cutler's psychological perspectives, provide readers with a range of tools and techniques that can be integrated into daily life to foster emotional healing and growth, ultimately paving the way to a happier and more serene life. Chapter 10. Bringing About Change. In the 10th chapter, Bringing About Change, the Dalai Lama and Dr. Howard Cutler focus on the practical application of the principles discussed throughout the book to bring about meaningful and sustainable changes in one's life. This chapter serves as a capstone to the overarching themes of the book, emphasizing how individuals can actively implement and maintain the strategies for happiness and well-being that have been outlined. Key elements and strategies for change. 1. Setting clear intentions. The Dalai Lama stresses the importance of setting clear and positive intentions as the foundation for any change. Intentions act as a guide for behavior and decision-making, helping individuals stay aligned with their goals of cultivating happiness and compassion. 2. Incremental changes. Both the Dalai Lama and Dr. Cutler advocate for making small, manageable changes rather than attempting major overhauls all at once. Incremental changes are more sustainable and less overwhelming, allowing individuals to build confidence and see progress over time. 3. Consistent practice. Emphasizing the importance of consistency, the Dalai Lama discusses how regular practice of mindfulness, meditation, and compassionate actions can solidify new habits. Consistency helps to embed these practices into everyday life, making them second nature. 4. Reflection and adjustment. Regular self-reflection is recommended to assess progress and make necessary adjustments. Reflection helps to understand what is working and what isn't, providing opportunities to refine approaches and strategies. 5. Community support. The role of community and social support is highlighted as crucial for sustaining change. Engaging with like-minded individuals or groups who share similar values and goals can provide encouragement, accountability, and inspiration. 6. Education and learning. Ongoing education and learning about emotional and psychological health are encouraged. Gaining deeper insights into the nature of mind and emotions can empower individuals to manage challenges more effectively. 7. Resilience in the face of setbacks. The Dalai Lama discusses the importance of resilience when facing setbacks or challenges. Viewing setbacks as opportunities for learning and growth can help maintain motivation and commitment to personal development. 8. Integrating changes into lifestyle. Dr. Cutler discusses how integrating changes into one's lifestyle requires adapting one's environment and routines to support the new behaviors. This might include setting up a dedicated space for meditation, scheduling specific times for reflection, or planning activities that encourage compassionate interactions. 9. Mindfulness in daily activities. Finally, the Dalai Lama encourages integrating mindfulness into all aspects of daily life. By being fully present and attentive in everyday activities, individuals can enhance their awareness and appreciation of life, contributing to sustained happiness and well-being. In summary, the chapter, Bringing About Change, provides a roadmap for how to effectively implement and sustain the changes necessary for achieving a happier, more compassionate life. The guidance from the Dalai Lama, enriched with Dr. Cutler's psychological insights, offers a comprehensive approach to personal transformation that is both practical and profound. Chapter 11. Basic Spiritual Values. In the final chapter, Basic Spiritual Values, the Dalai Lama wraps up the discussions from The Art of Happiness by revisiting and emphasizing the core spiritual values that form the foundation for true happiness. These values, inner peace, wisdom, kindness, and compassion, are presented not just as lofty ideals, but as practical principles that can guide daily living and interpersonal interactions. Core spiritual values discussed. 1. Inner peace. The Dalai Lama identifies inner peace as the cornerstone of happiness. He explains that inner peace is a state of mental and emotional serenity that does not waver in the face of external circumstances. Achieving inner peace involves managing one's mind and emotions through mindfulness, meditation, and self-awareness practices. This state of peace allows individuals to respond to life's challenges with clarity and balance, reducing unnecessary suffering. 2. The pursuit of wisdom. Wisdom in this context is understood as the deep understanding of the nature of life, including the impermanence of circumstances and the interdependence of all things. The pursuit of wisdom involves a continual process of learning, reflecting, and applying knowledge to foster a more profound understanding of life and relationships. The Dalai Lama emphasizes that wisdom helps individuals make informed, compassionate decisions that align with their values and the greater good. 3. Cultivation of kindness and compassion. Kindness and compassion are repeatedly highlighted as essential for personal happiness and healthy relationships. The Dalai Lama discusses how these qualities involve empathizing with others' suffering and actively seeking to contribute to their well-being. Cultivating these traits enriches one's own life, leads to deeper connections with others, and builds a more compassionate society. 4. Integration into daily life. The Dalai Lama stresses the importance of integrating these spiritual values into everyday actions and decisions. This integration involves conscious choices to act according to principles of kindness, wisdom, and peace, even in small everyday interactions. Such consistency is what ultimately leads to a sustained experience of happiness. 5. Ethical living. Ethical living is presented as a natural extension of these spiritual values. Living ethically involves making choices that do not harm others and that actively promote well-being. The Dalai Lama connects ethical behavior directly to happiness, proposing that ethical living provides a clear conscience, which is essential for inner peace. Dr. Cutler provides a psychological perspective, discussing the impact of these spiritual values on mental health. He cites research showing that values-led living can greatly reduce anxiety, depression, and stress, enhancing overall life satisfaction and resilience. The chapter concludes by reinforcing that these basic spiritual values are universal and can be cultivated regardless of one's cultural or religious background. The Dalai Lama encourages all individuals to adopt these values, not only for personal happiness, but as a contribution to global peace and well-being. Basic spiritual values. serves as both a summary and a call to action, urging readers to embody the principles discussed throughout the book to lead richer, more fulfilling lives while positively influencing the world around them. Throughout the book, the Dalai Lama's insights are interspersed with Dr. Cutler's reflections and conclusions based on psychological research, making it a thoughtful guide on incorporating spiritual values into everyday life to foster genuine happiness. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Click subscribe and hit the bell to be the first to enjoy our upcoming audiobooks.